138. Everyday Romanticism. Chalcedon Report number 341, December 1993. A number of excellent studies have been written on the Romantic movement in the arts, politics, religion, and other areas of life. My concern is with everyday, popular Romanticism. Jeffrey Grigson and Charles Harvard Gibbs Smith, editors of Ideas, 1957, wrote of romantic love that it was the dream of a universe peopled by two alone, where they and time stood still. It began at first sight. It was an instantaneous spell. It was something to be desired, and not something to be lived, a possession, rather than a relationship. "Get me the girl," said Faust to Mephistopheles. It foresaw no development. It was complete in itself. Romanticism wants no reality except that which it ordains. If the loved one does not please the lover, love turns to rage and hate. P.B. Shelley, his life and his poetry, give us vivid examples of this. Romanticism wants the world of one's imagination, not reality. In fact, Romanticism imagines that man can do things better than God, if only God would permit it. Not surprisingly, Romanticism readily decays into occultism and Satanism. Romanticism must be recognized as the core of a very common problem in and out of the church. All too many pastoral problems have their roots in a romantic temperament among the people. Men begin early with unrealistic romantic dreams. They study law, for example, with a storybook notion of dramatic victories before the bar, or journalism, imagining sensational news breaks of startling dimensions, and so on and on. The necessity of earning a living is an early cure for the romantic disposition, which, in men, is related to their vocational hopes. With women, Romanticism is related to the man-woman relationship, to love. It is more often a problem of middle age these days, and a very sad one. For example, a middle-aged widow, yet financially reasonably well-to-do, and with a good, loving family, wanted a passionate, adoring man, she insisted. The men her age were out of passion and more interested in a comfortable life. Because of her obviously romantic disposition, she became a victim of every predatory male, young and old. Unwilling to give up her romantic dreams for reality, she became readily victimized. There are too many romantic women ready to leave their husbands because these men do not become rapturously lustful at the sight of them. This is absurd and sad. The romantic temper and movement have a deep affinity to revolution. In fact, modern revolutionary movements are essentially related to Romanticism. What for Christians God can do through conversion, the Romanticists believe revolution can do for men and nations. The results are reigns of terror, bloodbaths, slave labour camps, and the like. Revolutions do not regenerate men and nations. Instead, they kill. Romantics insist life on our terms only. This is why Romanticism and tears are so commonly associated. The romantic refuses to accept God's reality and becomes enraged or grief-stricken when life frustrates him or her. There are two things that matter to the romantic: a dream and possession, that is, something desired, and its possession. Little thought is given to what intervenes in the real world, that is, hard work, patience, respect, planning and care. The romantic's perspective is, I want, therefore I must have. I recall a very talented artist who became a failure because he refused to acknowledge that talent needs training, patience and experience. He had rejected the reality of life in favour of his romantic dream of instant gratification and success. This is the fairy tale mentality. Fairy tales were reworkings of old folk tales by Romantic scholars. Even then, because their appearance was early in the Romantic movement, they did reflect a world of problems, despite their fairy tale endings. But the fairy tale ending is what people want, not a story of work and patience. But Romanticism is deeply entrenched in our culture. One mother, whose home is at times a gathering place of youths, both males and females, who came to be with her son and daughter, was startled on one occasion as she listened to their highly improbable ideas about their wants and wishes. She first told herself, "They're very young," but then realized they were at an age when serious, realistic thinking is most necessary. It frightened her to think that these young people were on a collision course with reality. The world is a fallen realm. Too many people, old and young, demand that it satisfy them, forgetting that they are themselves fallen. Too many sinners see themselves as innocent, and the world is the problem. And too many limit their world to themselves and a very few others. This is because Romanticism is a blinding belief. It refuses to surrender its illusions and confront reality with a Christian faith. In effect, it says to God, "My dreams are better than your world," forgetting that those dreams are egocentric imaginations and are radically dangerous to us because they are false. The definition of romantic love as the dream of a universe peopled by two alone is a kindly one. In essence, it is a world peopled by the dreamer alone. For Shelley, the dream woman was a goddess. When she became the everyday woman, she was a witch. There was no room in Shelley's world for anyone other than himself. This is why Romanticism leads to disaster. It will not live with God's reality. Only a true biblical faith can overcome the evil of Romanticism